October 12th, 2019, Oak Ridge Preparatory High School. My name is Raven Maury, and I was the astronomy teacher who watched my entire advanced placement class vanish during a meteor shower observation. They didn't run away. They didn't hide. They were taken, one, by something that moved between the falling stars. 5 years later, the school board calls it a mass hysteria event. But I know what I saw that night. I'm the only one who remembers their faces. And I'm the only one who still hears their voices calling from the dark corners of empty classrooms. The air tasted of autumn decay and anticipation as I led my 23 students onto the football field. Telescopes stood like skeletal sentinels against the twilight. "Remember," I said, my teacher voice steady despite the chill, "the Orionids peak tonight." Liam, my most promising student, already had his notebook out. The first meteor streaked a brilliant silver scratch across the velvet sky, then another, and another. But the third one didn't fade. It descended, silent and controlled, growing larger until its pale, geometric light washed over us. My brown eyes scanned the field instinctively, counting shadows. We were 24. There was one extra. The light didn't just illuminate. It solidified into geometric patterns on the grass, glowing triangles that seemed to absorb sound. Sarah, who always sat front row, took a step toward the nearest triangle. "Miss Maury," she whispered, her voice thin as paper. Then she was gone, not vanished, but subtracted. The air where she stood simply folded. My jaw tightened, the teacher in me screaming to take attendance, to account for everyone. But how do you account for absence where presence once was? Another student, then another, stepped into the patterns and were unmade from reality itself. Liam grabbed my arm, his fingers cold. "They're not taking us," he breathed, his eyes wide with a terrifying clarity. "They're copying us. Look at the light." I followed his gaze. Within the geometric patterns, faint afterimages of my students flickered, perfect duplicates that mimicked their movements, but with a half-second delay. The thing that looked like Sarah turned its head a moment after the real Sarah had vanished. It smiled with her mouth, but the expression was all wrong, a geometric arrangement of features. My own duplicate stood at the edge of the pattern, wearing my blazer, holding phantom chalk. The remaining students clustered around me, their terrified whispers echoing in the unnatural silence that had swallowed the football field. The classroom, Liam insisted, pulling me toward the school. The blackboard equations. We stumbled into my empty room, chalk dust still hanging in the air from that afternoon's lesson on cosmic radiation. On the board, new symbols glowed, the same geometric patterns from the field. But now, they formed a perfect star map. My duplicate stood before it, tracing the constellations with my hand. It turned, its brown eyes scanning me, and spoke with my voice. "The lesson isn't over. It's been 5 years. The police found no evidence. The students' families moved away, and the school painted over my classroom walls. But sometimes, when I'm alone grading papers, the chalk dust in the air will swirl into those same geometric patterns. I'll hear a half whisper that sounds like Liam, or see Sarah's duplicate reflected in a window for a fraction of a second. They didn't just take my students that night. They left their copies behind, waiting in the silent spaces between moments. And I know, with the chilling certainty of a teacher who can no longer trust her own roster, that my duplicate is still here, teaching them whatever comes after human knowledge. Subscribe for more stories.